Good afternoon to all. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Time here in the Go Zone Wi-Fi International Headquarters out of St. Petersburg, Florida. I definitely would like to thank everyone for joining us here on our webinar on how to keep out of that dreaded spam folder. If we haven't met before, my name is Joey Catalano. I'm an account executive here at Go Zone Wi-Fi. Along for the ride with us today is our marketing enthusiast, Asa Hedstrom. Please feel free to chat into him to say hi and let him know you're here, as well as if you have any questions as we go along. Taking a look at today's agenda, we'll be touching on the tremendous benefit of email marketing, the hurdle that is the dreaded spam folder, and we'll be providing powerful, actionable tips to assist you with avoiding the spam folder like the plague. Before we begin, I do want to propose these 3 questions for you to think of as we go along the process here, as it can assist you with brainstorming opportunities about your business. The first question is, what email marketing strategies am I currently utilizing? The second question is, how am I currently utilizing these email marketing strategies? And third, how might I be able to improve upon these email marketing strategies that I'm currently utilizing? Now, let's start with some basic foundations. Email marketing, why we use it. First off, there is a superb ROI behind it. Email marketing has a low barrier of entry traditionally, which includes the program cost and your labor cost to set up for your business. So you can see here, according to Salesforce, the average ROI is upwards of 3,800%. Or for every dollar spent, your average return is $38. The second piece is customer engagement. Where many companies are finding success is utilizing the concept of emotional connection marketing. Opposite to the traditional idea of sending out the traditional mailer to various addresses and seeing what sticks, you can actually send out personalized, segmented emails based on groupings which you decide. You wouldn't want an email, for example, that's targeting your women to end up in your men's folder and vice versa. That potentially could hurt the desire for those men to open up and see what promotion you're sending to them in the future. Third is the growing users of emails. A question that I receive every other day with potential clients is, hey Joey, aren't more people pushing away from emails and more towards other formats of communication? Well, the data that's out there doesn't quite showcase that. As notated here, you can see that there is about a 10% increase in growing users of emails by the year 2021. Lastly is the smart platforms that are out there. The great thing about smart platforms is that they aren't something you will need to take a small business loan out, for example, on or sacrifice significant capital to begin utilizing. Best of all, most of these solutions are extremely user-friendly and they do not take many labor hours to get up and running. Now the foundation of the spam folder. Now think of all the email addresses and the amount of spam emails that you personally receive every day. On average, there are 7.5 billion spam emails sent out every hour. Roughly 20% of emails will end up in the spam folder. That's why it is paramount that you take all precautions to ensure your emails will not end up in the spam folder. As we begin our first tip, I do want to reiterate the 3 questions I posed earlier. The first, what email marketing strategies am I currently utilizing? The second, how am I currently utilizing these email marketing strategies? And third, how might I be able to improve upon these strategies which I'm currently utilizing? Now, the first tip, check your sender score. The email sender score is interesting and something that many companies out there aren't quite aware of, but it does have a strong impact on their email marketing strategies. There are several factors that go into your email sender score. Listed are some of them. One to point out is that to ensure that you're utilizing a service that checks the authenticity of the emails that you're sending out. If you're not checking to see if they're authentic, then that will have a negative impact on your score over time. Another big piece is the content in your email, which we will touch on later. The second tip, which I want to provide, is research third-party providers. When selecting any program to integrate into your business, it is critical to do research, and then more research. This goes the same with email marketing programs. Now, why this is important? Email marketing utilizes what's called a shared IP. This allows the vendors to provide email services at a cheap cost. Worst of all, there are companies out there who do not promote a respectable email culture. This could have a negative impact on all the hard work and precious labor hours you place into your email marketing program. Now, if you don't do your due diligence in selecting the right program, that can shed your company in a bad light. The third tip is monitor the quantity of email marketing. I cannot stress the amount of times that we provide consultations to clientele who mention email marketing. However, they're sending out emails once, sometimes twice a day. Now, this can have a disastrous effect on your email sender rating. Now, take, for example, a brand or a company which you really enjoy. Now, think if every day you're receiving 1 or 2 emails from them, eventually you'll stop losing the desire to hear from them. And then even worse, you may unsubscribe from oversaturation through emails. Our rule of thumb is no more than 2 to 3 times a week should you be sending out those emails. A good thought to keep in mind when sending out those emails is what I'm sending useful and beneficial to my clientele or guests. Finally, ensure that you're utilizing a program which gives you the ability to log or track the open rates as well as other useful information. If you cannot measure the data that you're being provided, how can you possibly manage its overall effectiveness? Companies out there that do throw arbitrary data, there are companies out there, that do throw arbitrary data to you. It is paramount that you ensure the data that you have is as accurate and applicable to your company as possible. The fourth tip is to provide useful content. Think about this. The average user attention span is 8 seconds. Your email subject line and body have an average of 8 seconds to convey a strong, powerful message to your guest before he or she deletes or moves to the next message. Before you send an email, think, is what I'm sending beneficial and useful to my audience? Another important piece is to ensure that your email goes through a proofreading check and balance prior to it being sent out. It is always important to ensure that your content is as presentable as possible with the least amount of grammatical errors. Finally, ensure whatever email program you're utilizing is optimized for mobile devices. As you can see there, roughly 80% of readers will delete an email that is not optimized for a mobile device. Lastly, you want to avoid spam words. The amount of times that I'll do an initial consultation with directors of marketing regarding their email campaigns and they don't realize how many common spam words are in that email is staggering to say the least. Following our webinar, do yourself a favor and search on the web for common spam words. You will be shocked, as I was many years ago, when I learned just how many spam words are on the spam list. I would recommend printing it out and having it handy when you do any final proofing of your emails. Now, some key things. Email marketing with smart Wi-Fi. How GoZone Wi-Fi's platform can assist you with staying out of the spam folder. One of those ways is by utilizing our friendly drag and drop builder for your email campaigns. Now, as we did mention earlier on, it is good to make sure that those emails are short and straight to the point with valuable content for your guests. The second piece is to make sure that you create campaigns that are specifically targeted to audiences that you want to reach. So for example, GoZone Wi-Fi's marketing for Wi-Fi does have the ability to segment those emails into a male-only or women-only demographic, as well as reach out to them over any period of time that they either have not connected or have connected a multitude of times. This will help build that emotional connection piece to those guests, and it will assist them with knowing, hey, I didn't receive the same email that 500 people received. This was one for me thanks to these targeted steps that I have taken with this company and this type of loyalty that I have provided. The other piece is to have that ability measurable and manageable, as we notated earlier. Our program does give you that ability to not only can you see what each email campaign has provided and you can see that data, you can also export that to Excel at any point in time to manipulate the data and see exactly that ROI in action from each email and coupon campaign to each specific campaign log. Lastly, GoZone Wi-Fi does integrate into several existing email marketing platforms that you might already have. So for example, if you have a MailChimp, all it takes is your API key and your list ID, and we'll be able to automatically integrate to those as well. If you don't have a MailChimp, Constant Contact, Fishbowl, or Robly, don't worry. We can either utilize a Zapier tool, which has access to over 1,000 different programs, or at any point in time, you can export that information to Excel and manually input that into your own databases. Now, as we conclude today's webinar, I would like to revisit those questions that I did pose earlier and at the midpoint of today's webinar. As it pertains to your companies, think, first, what email marketing strategies am I currently utilizing? Second, how am I currently utilizing these email marketing strategies? And finally, how might I be able to improve upon these strategies, which I'm currently utilizing? If you should ever have those questions or be interested in learning more about GoZone Wi-Fi's 3 different platforms, always feel free to reach out to myself here. I can be reached through email or through phone. As that does conclude today's webinar, I do hope you learned something new and applicable to your business. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining with us today, as well as Asa for assisting me with the webinar. Once again, if there are any questions, here is my contact information. Asa, did I miss anything?
No, Joey, hey, great job today, buddy. Hey, guys, just remember to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We are constantly posting this sort of helpful information every day to help grow your business in terms of marketing tips, ways to increase sales, and even help your operational needs of your business. Also, we're going to go ahead and share a file of today's presentation with you all, because we just, we want to make sure that you always have this information on hand. There you guys go. So you should have a downloadable link there. So go ahead, download that PDF so that you'll have for the future. Also remember that you'll be getting that 24-hour email as well with the video replay. So if you missed anything during this presentation, you can check out that replay video as well. Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining today's webinar, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.
Thank you.